Hi, I'm Merle. Welcome to Atomic Sound. It's an old fire station from the 1840s. Apparently it was the first firehouse in Brooklyn, and it was in service until 1980, I believe. In 2005, I got the studio, and it took several years to build, and I acquired the wood from barns upstate. A friend of mine runs a wood shop here in the city. He had stacks and stacks of old growth, wide plank pine, and that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Yeah, he was building an apartment for Bono on West 12th Street, and he had all this leftover stuff, which was kind of cool, I thought. We just set up shop in the lounge, basically, where that is, and chopped it all up. I mean, over the course of 7 years, I guess. Yeah, the wood definitely helps warm up a place, I think. You kind of get that cabin feel in the middle of Red Hook, Brooklyn, which is nice. And it was a long process building this place. So, yeah, the doors, my friend Jeff built these, and they weren't quite soundproof enough, so we had to add on another door.
Yes.
And same thing in all the other booths. We had to laminate them with some heavy Ipe wood and add additional panes of glass.
The light in here, it's so nice.
Exactly. I've worked in bat caves for so many years that I wanted to have light in my studio.
Yeah.
We love our gear.
You love your Pultex.
Oh, I love the Pultex.
How many Pultex do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, there's a 2-story lookout tower, plate reverbs up there, EMP 140, and there's another 140, but it has an echo plate driver in it. Mm-hmm. That's old barn wood, all of it. It was our attempt at RPG diffusers.
Library.
See where the magic happens. Yeah, it's a 16-foot ceiling pitched down to 13. That's the natural curve of the building. It used to have a drop ceiling in here where the lower beams are, the lights are hanging off of, and I cut out a bunch of the other ones and kept these just for lights.
I've seen that shape, though, in a lot of other really good-sounding drum rooms.
Yeah.
Like over at East West, is it Studio 2?
I'm not sure. I've never been there. I've always wanted to check it
The
out.
Chili Peppers drum room, where
Gotcha.
it's a very long, skinny room, and then there's a riser at the back, so there's like a smaller area back in the corner of it. I always wonder if that, having that pocket,
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that makes all the difference.
it's very cool.
Very warm, no parallel walls. Drums sound huge in it.
Vocal booth over there.
Yeah, I use that for a vocal booth. I usually have bass amps in this room over here. And the pass-through, I usually throw an extra amp in or, backup singer or whatever.
And then what's behind the curtain?
It's all brick. Yeah, if you want a little more reflection for drums or whatever, you can just open this up.
Oh, cool. Wow, that's old.
Yeah, it's holding the building together. Got a 1960s upright piano in there, and then a 1970 Yamaha C7, which came from an old mansion in Manhattan.
Those are nice. I always like those because they're not too bright.
It's a great rock and roll piano.
Tell me about some of these amps.
Oh man, just a collection. I had this guy, Lewis in New Jersey, made that for me. That's a K12. It's a Keith Richards. It's an amp that he built for Keith, apparently.
Where'd you get the Princeton reverb?
The Princeton's a loan from a friend, and I've had it for a couple of years. It's kind of semi-permanent loan, and I always told him he's not getting it back, but eventually he's going to come for it. Well, I was having a lot of issues with my last console, and my tech that was working on the previous console had me check out the Rupert Neve console and said I should really look into it because it's a really amazing desk. And I flew down to Austin, checked it out, and the console looked amazing. It just screamed vintage analog kind of vibe, which I kind of liked, the aesthetic. I've always loved the Penthouse section on vintage consoles, the old Tridents, the old Neves. So they sent me a couple Shelford modules to demo here in the studio and try out. And I A/B'd them on so many different things, and they were incredible, and I was absolutely sold at that point. Now I've got a 48-channel disc. It's amazing. I think it has all the characteristics of a vintage console, but with none of the issues. And you've got amazing compressors, and the EQs are quite dramatic. The low end on this thing is far superior to anything that I've ever had in the studio before. It just takes the work away. Having a large format console, it just makes the recording process easier. You know, you can record everyone at the same time. You don't have to piecemeal together a project, overdubbing. It's so much easier having everything on the desk. I use Pro Tools kind of as a tape machine when I'm recording, and you monitor everything up here, and I've got all my mic pre's on this side, using the same pre's on all the drums, on everything. So you get the phase coherency and so forth, rather than picking out a palette of, a pair on this or a pair on that, and I just don't think you get the same sound like an old record. I think that's really important. As with any older cars, equipment, whatever, you run into issues after a while. And it's really nice to have the upgrade and not have any issues, and it's all about the music now, not troubleshooting, which is absolutely incredible. I want everything to sound good. I don't want to have to think about it too much. Previous consoles I've owned had a lot of hiss, and it was annoying to say the least. The headroom on this console is incredible. Low noise, all faders up, slam it with no distortion. The Rupert Neve console has been a life changer.